Yes, student physical presence and online. So, any question, query from yesterday's lectures? So, yesterday, thank you for coming and joining for this today's lectures. So, yesterday we discussed a little bit about what is the animal, what is the wild animal, what is the difference between the laboratory animal and wild animal, what is the difference between model and model animal. Okay, what kind of animals are used in laboratory, mostly in mice and rat. Why mostly people use mice and rat for the laboratory animal? So, what is the difference between mice? What is the difference between mice and rat? What is the advantage of using mice? What is the advantage of using rat? What is the advantage of using guinea pig? This kind of thing, basic things. To work with mice or rat, we have to understand the physiology and pathology of this animal. So, as per the requirement for the ethical consideration, as I told you, so 3R. That means replace, reduced. As many as possible, make it minimum number of animals. And minimum number of pain, minimum amount of pain you have to give the animal. Okay. Sometimes due to ethical consideration and disease, if you make any disease model, mortality rate is a factor. Okay, if you give making model and mortality rate is too high, it is not acceptable. Mortality rate should be minimum. Okay, so online student, can you hear me clearly? Just write me in chat box, yes, no. Good morning, everyone. Yes, yes. So today, development of what I do development of rat models for pre-diabetic and obesity pre-diabetes. So I'll share some experience how we developed in our laboratory. Before doing this one, so diabetes model development, let's see some of the facts, figures, and pathophysiology of diabetes. So this is the diabetes, one of the most challenging public health problem in the 21st century. Diabetes, everybody knows it. Normally, very simple, elevated blood glucose, elevated blood sugar. So this is the rapid prevalence of diabetes has made a more red alert all worldwide. Everywhere there is a diabetes. Okay, there is a facts and figure. See it here. The population here, the 2021 and 2020 world population. Here, the diabetes prevalence worldwide 10%. Hyperglycemia during pregnancy 16%. Impaired glucose tolerance 10%. Impaired fasting glucose 6.2%. That means diabetes is 10%. Pre-diabetes, sometimes called pre-diabetes or IGR, it is almost 10%. That means 10 to 10% are diabetes, or 10% are glucose intolerance. That means almost 20% world population either in those are in adult population, either risk. Okay, sit here. So it's a number game. If some country has more number of people, more number of diabetes. Okay, so top 10 countries in the world that has maximum number of diabetes. If China has more population, 140 population. India has 74 population, so diabetes, and Pakistan is 33 million diabetes. Okay, some country. So in Bangladesh 13.1. Egypt 10.9. This is the Indonesia 19 point. This is the number of diabetes. So according to the number of diabetes, the IDF, International Diabetes Federation, make the top 10 country according to their number. You see it here, according to their prevalence in adult. So Pakistan is the number one. almost 31% prevalence. That means 31% means in 100 subject, adult subject, that is 30. That means almost 1/3. That means every 3%. Okay, it's a huge number, epidemic. Okay, so Kuwait is also there. Then this is the country. So here in 2021 and here in 2045, this is estimated. Some country will also be more, maybe there, maybe increase and could decrease. Prevalence is high in Pakistan. So this prevalence is not the gender biased, male and female, all the ages, and up to 20 to 75, almost all are male and female, goes hand to hand, similar pattern. However, you see it here in 2021 and 2025, this is the yellow line, this is the people in the rural people, and this is the village, in the urban people. The urban people are more susceptible, more vulnerable in diabetes. And it will be, so it is almost double, but in 25, it will be triple. So urbanization, it makes more prone to diabetes. Okay, you see it, as I told you, in diabetes, total number of population of diabetes, okay, China has 140 million diabetes. India has more than 100 million diabetes. Pakistan has 333 million. Bangladesh has 30 million. That means total number of population of diabetes, we consider Asia. It is Asia, maximum number of diabetes in Asia. 60% people are living in Asia in diabetes. Therefore, you see, that makes type 2 diabetes in red zone. Asia in the red zone. Pakistan is the red zone. Okay, sometimes, therefore, though it is maximum number of diabetes here, the Asian disease or Asian new epidemic. Initially, it was believed that diabetes is the disease only the obese people, these people. Initially, it was believed. But now there is a rapid shift or paradigm shift. It is not only these people disease or not only the fat man disease, it's everywhere. Okay, the Asian disease. What's the reason this coming to this? Many reasons, not only one, many. The reason, some reason is common, some is very country dependent or area dependent. So here you see the same trend in Bangladesh. So it is, I work in hospital, Bardem Diabetes Hospital. Here you see from 1956 to 2021, this is the not total number of diabetes. In a hospital, a tertiary hospital, the world largest diabetes hospital in the world, the number of registered patients. So it is the rapid increase. This is one of my students. Okay, we did this study. So in maybe 2010. Okay, that time this one, but it was prediction. It was that time WDF make a projection that in 2030 the population will be 13 million, but to 2030 it will be it takes another 7 years. But now it is diabetes is the 33 million. That means the real number of diabetes is more than the projected one. That means we have some projection. If it is increased in this way, after 5 years, what will happen? 10 years, what will happen? This is the projection. So the projection is more than that. The projection is less, but reality is more in diabetes. Country distribution: China, India, and Pakistan is the maximum number of diabetes. As I told you, in MENA region, you know, MENA in the Middle East. This kind of region, it is Pakistan 33% and Kuwait 49%. This kind of, especially in the Arab world, there's also lots of diabetes. The prevalence is same in Arab world and non-Arab world. In Arab world, normally it is almost many countries they have even on average the prevalence is 24% in Arab world. Therefore, the Pakistan and diabetes is a country of AIDS. So this is the alarming figure, alarming facts and figure and alarming news for the Pakistan, as well as not only Pakistan is the only Muslim country, all Muslim countries. Pakistan is doing very good survey, therefore their result is coming. But many other countries, in Gulf countries or Arab countries, their database is not updated. Okay, therefore maybe there is some diabetes is more, prevalence is more, but it is not, exact figure is not in the literature. Okay, so another thing is, so it is the number of income. It is proposed diagnosis in the high income countries. Normally, one is diagnosed diabetes, another is undiagnosed diabetes. The sad part of the story, 50% of the people don't know either they have diabetes or not diabetes. So those are low income countries. Normally, people goes to hospital in the extreme cases, when it's very severe in the cases. So when they are due to some operation or due to some other treatment, that time the patient is suggested to do some diabetes test. They diagnosed and found it is diabetes. But when it started, they don't know. But Western countries, they have some life insurance there, health insurance there. Normally, they every year, 6 monthly or 3 monthly or every year, they must do the diabetic test as per their requirement of the health insurance. Though in this country, low income country, we don't have. Therefore, we go to a doctor at the end and it's severe. So the high income countries, undiagnosed is 28. Here in Middle East, middle income countries, low income countries, almost 50% people don't know either they have diabetes or not. Undiagnosed diabetes. It's more dangerous. It is more dangerous. They don't. If you start treatment today, in early stage, it can be manageable, well managed. But if it is in complication state, you can't do anything. There's no way, no point of return. Okay. Yes, sir. As per your question, okay, just 1 minute. I first have to check the chat box. Okay. So your answer is here, sir. Okay, there are diabetes. It is not only predominant in genetics; it's called ecogenetics. Gene is here, environment is here, and behavior, lifestyle. So see, like a pistol, you have a pistol, and you have loaded with bullet. Bullet you can carry it at your pocket. It will not harmful. It will not do anything. But if you trigger it, then it can save your life, it can kill your life. Same is true. So some genetic susceptibility is there, 33%. Okay, if your father has diabetes, the chance to get you diabetes is 33%, 25%. If your father has diabetes, 25% chance. So if your mother has diabetes, 25% chance. My question is, if father and mother both have diabetes, what is the chance of diabetes? What is the chance? Father, if your only father has diabetes, to transmit the disease to susceptibility of the son or of offspring, 25%. Right? Mother have diabetes, so offspring susceptibility is 25%. If both parents has diabetes, then what will
almost same 25%.
Whereas diabetes is X-linked disease, so it's male and female. Male has more chance of having diabetes than female.
No, so if father and mother both have diabetes, what is the chance? If someone has diabetes, father, susceptibility is 25%. Mother has diabetes, 25%. If father and mother both have diabetes, what is the chance? If, who told 75%? What is you are absolutely right. What is the logic?
Like she said that diabetes is X-linked. So mother has 2 X's while father has 1 X. So I did the simple math.
Okay, this is this is the new thing for me learning. Thank you very much. But sometimes remember, sometimes it is 1. 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Sometimes 1, if 2 1 sit together, it is 11. More than 2. This is, remember this thing, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Sometimes if 1 and plus 1 if you are here, so if your parent or someone is with you, it will be, we call synergistic effect, not additive effect. So remember this thing. If one parent, 25%. Father, 2 parents, that means 75%. So again, so only it depends many things. So if your parent, if the father or mother has early stage, okay, early life diabetes, this chance is more. But even if birth is then, so the father, mother, they become father, the mother become mother, and later stage they become diabetes. So this equation is not true for them. Okay, many things, not the straightforward calculation. So this one, the gene is there. Gene is only one factor, not the only factor. And as I told you, it is the triggering factor. Triggering factor, what is the, these two triggering factor is the environment and behavior. Pollution, air pollution, okay, air pollution, many things in the environment, mostly, okay, and your lifestyle. Your lifestyle and your environment make these two are your decision making. Either it will be in diabetes or diabetes. Because environment and behavior, if someone has diabetes, some father mother diabetes, he can make a good environment and good lifestyle, chance is less. But if someone has father mother is not mandatory. So if your father and mother has diabetes, there is not mandatory you will develop diabetes. It's true. It's also true if your father and mother don't diabetes, there is chance you will be develop diabetes due to environment and lifestyle. Yes.
So all of these factors have same share to diabetes.
So
The share of
it's almost yes, almost 33. Okay. So now come to the point. You see it here. This is the organ. So this is the organ, we call it pancreas. So in the pancreas, there is a pancreas organ. There is some islets. Okay? We call it, the scientist who developed, his name was Langerhans. We call it islets of Langerhans. Okay, islets of Langerhans. So islets is called, in a sense, normally if you see there is sea, okay, there is some in the sea, water everywhere, but some part there is only some land is there. We call it island. Okay, so in the pancreas is big area, everywhere some acinar cell, duct cell, somewhere, some part like island, there is something. This is, therefore it's called islets. So the scientist who discovered it, his name is Langerhans, therefore we call islets of Langerhans. So this islet of Langerhans contains 4 different kinds of cell. One is alpha cell, one is beta cell, one is delta cell, another is another custom cell. So the beta cell is the master molecule that produces insulin, and insulin is the molecule responsible for diabetes. Okay, see it here. So insulin. So this is the islets, beta cell. This is the insulin producing cell. Insulin producing cells. What happens in diabetes? Diabetes, there is many things can be happened. One is just there is destruction of beta cells, or maybe insulin is there for producing the insulin, but it is not functional. Okay, let's see little by little. And 2 kinds of diabetes. One is type 1 diabetes, mostly type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. These are the most common types. Type 1 diabetes normally happens in the child, and in that cases, there is no production of insulin. For survival, you need insulin. But in case of type 2 diabetes, the phenomena may be 2. Option 1, so your pancreas can produce less insulin. Option 2, your less insulin, it leads to diabetes. Option 2, your pancreas can produce enough insulin, more than enough, but it is not functional. We call it insulin resistance. Okay, insulin is there but not active. But the type 2 diabetes all over the world, 90-95% diabetes is belong to type 2 diabetes. Some other type diabetes also there during pregnancy, some kind of, okay. So diabetes happens, we call it GDM, gestational diabetes mellitus. Okay, many types of diabetes happen there, but okay. So in now there is classification mostly type 1 and type 2. However, in 1985, there is a classification. Number 1 is the type, okay, insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Number 2, the non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. There is another type, we call it MRDM. There is subgroup PDDM. So this malnutrition, MRDM means malnutrition, MRDM. This is called MRDM, malnutrition related diabetes mellitus. One is PDDM. So PDDM is a protein deficient diabetes mellitus. So The diabetes classification was done by the IDF. I don't know, American Diabetic Society or WHO, because they classified according to their own patients. So in the countries or Western countries, there is no protein deficient or no malnutrition, almost. Okay, but however, the many part of the world, there is malnutrition and sometimes undernutrition. Sometimes they are taking a lot of food, but mostly on carbohydrate. Taking carbohydrate, rice or roti, but less amount of protein. So that means they're taking food, energy is okay, but they're taking maximum energy from carbohydrate rather than protein. So it may cause diabetes. That's called protein deficient diabetes mellitus. Okay. So normally in diabetes, we call it metabolic disease or metabolic disorder. Why it called? Normally glucose. So normally glucose 50% function is the make energy production. Or 15% it should be make glycogen, and 30 to 40% it may convert glucose to fat. But in case of diabetes, this percentage is changed, the metabolism change. Okay, therefore it called metabolic disease. Okay, so yes sir, you told me what is the reason. There's many reasons. Some of the reason is genetics, maternal hyperglycemia, maternal undernutrition. It is important thing. Undernutrition, maternal under, it is normally diabetes start, not the adult stage. In type 2 diabetes stage from before birth. If your mother is undernutrition, it causes, because if mother is undernutrition, your baby will be the underweight. If underweight, the size of pancreas is less. The pancreas is the factory of making insulin. If factory is the size of the pancreas, or we call it factory, is less, the production will be less. Very simple. Okay. Gender, age, lifestyle and development in childhood, lifestyle in adulthood, obesity, physical inactivity, malnutrition, and depression also is a causing factor. This is the causing. So it depends on many countries. This is some factor, not all. Many other factors. Smoking is a factor. Environment is a factor. So I'll check some other factors for nutrition. So malnutrition and overnutrition, both are causing diabetes. If it is malnutrition, it causes diabetes. We call it non-obese diabetes. And if it is overnutrition, it also causes diabetes. We call insulin resistance or obese diabetes. Very interestingly, so one of our colleagues in Dhaka, okay, we did a study. He studied the prevalence of diabetes, normal population. Those are the less BMI, the undernutrition or malnutrition, and overnutrition. So you see it here, see the rich people, okay, and poor people. The rich people, those have BMI 25 plus, they have maximum number of diabetes. But the poor people, it's the reverse. Those have BMI less than 22, they have maximum number of diabetes. The scenario is different, poor people to rich people. Very interesting. So these poor people, as I told you, it's not, they're undernutrition, malnutrition, and protein deficient diabetes mellitus. So this is maybe true in many countries, because there is no, people are not taking too much high junk food or too much McDonald's, maybe even diabetes is there. Why? Because either malnutrition or protein deficient diabetes mellitus, it is maybe cause. Okay, this is the recent cause. Okay, nowadays, say in mobile phone, okay, people are using sleep, SMS, messages, mobile phone, Facebook. Okay, so they're very active in night, hyperactive at midnight. Without sleeping, they're making this one. Okay, it's sleep disturbance, money spent. What happens if the sleep disturbance? We call it sleep apnea. It causes diabetes. Qualities of sleep. Normally, there's everything is everything there is differ. So value. So one glass of water, one bottle of water, in case of in market, it is maybe 25 rupees. Same water, if you purchase in Chinese restaurant, good restaurant, it will maybe 30 rupees. If you go to the same water in the seaside, it may cost 50 rupees. Same water in the airport, it may cost 60 rupees. Same water in the 5-star hotel, it may cost more than 100 rupees. So in the same water, depending on the place, depending on the time, okay, price differ. Okay, quality difference. Same is true. Normally, the human is sleeping at 11 to 11 night to 2 a.m. This is the alpha level. This is the best quality sleep. If you sleep at the late night, early morning, so it cannot compensate this quality of life. The sleeping disturbance, it makes some kind of diabetes. Okay, so type 2 diabetes. Sometimes, right? So in our part of the world, so all over the world, other country we found it, the diabetes is male dominant. But in one of my students, we did MD in Dhaka, we found diabetes is more diabetes in the female. So we found what is the cause and consequence, this one. We found one cause is the Star Plus. You know, Star Plus is a TV channel of India. They make some drama, this kind of drama. That is very familiar drama. That's it. Almost all female people like it. Hours and hours, they see the serial. Then what happens? What happens here? Star Plus. The name is very clear. Star, sugar is increased plus. TG is plus. A1C, HbA1c, marker of diabetes, it is plus. Resistance, a hormone, it is called insulin resistance. Because you're sleeping, you're sitting the places, you're inactive. And you're seeing the star. They're performing, they're active, dynamic. Their figure 10 years back, and today the figure is same, appearance is same. And little by little, what happens? See this figure here. So initially, the TB is very big, very thick. Little by little, what happens? TB becomes slim, ultra slim. Human become TB and human opposite direction. Because the people, it's slim, they're becoming slim, ultra slim, or we're becoming fat and ultra fat. Okay, this is television therapy, television watching, and other sedentary lifestyle in diabetes is obesity. Okay, so here, see, sometimes a good movie in Vijara. Okay, the story. Okay, so they know a story. So people are like a story, not only students or normal people. Even I told them this one story. Once the former president of Pakistan, Parvez Musharraf, okay, he visited India. He and his family visited India, and they asked what kind of I came here in comstech. So the comstech director general want to know what you want to see, what you want to eat. Like this, they can common courtesy. So once President Parvez Musharraf visited India, and the common courtesy asked. So then his wife, I want to meet Rani Mukherjee, the actress of this movie. Unexpected and surprising. So the president's wife wish, they must fulfill the wish. So therefore, she came here because not only you, even president wives, they are very fond of this movie or cinema. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, especially boys, if you want to change something in your life, if you do want to something in your life, try to do it before marriage. After marriage, even you cannot change the TV, even cannot change the TV remote. Sometimes it's impossible. So if there is conflict, there is a game show or cricket match and someone serial, to you, TV, cricket is important, but to them, serial is important. So this is a lesson one. Remote is controlled by them. Okay, it's not only for you and me and all. Yes, sir. Now, we sometimes this call globalization, Coca-Colization, Coca-Cola. You know, Coca-Cola, sometimes called Coca-Cola, Chocha-Chola, Coca-Cola, Chocha-Chola, whatever the name is. This Coca-Cola, okay, remember this thing. Coca-Cola, all over the world, you find the Coca-Cola, Chocha-Chola. Name is same. Everybody like it. Everybody like it. Either male, female, child, young, black, everywhere. So therefore, why I told you this word, where there is a Coca-Cola, there is a diabetes. That means in the world, everywhere you find Coca-Cola. Everywhere you find diabetes. Okay. So in Coca-Cola, that means some composition is known. This Coca-Cola has this, and something is unknown, secret. Same is true in diabetes. In diabetes, causating factor, what is the known factor? What is the causing factor? Many things we know. These genetic factor, environment, these, but many things we don't know. Age, television becomes slimming, and human become. Now, come to the point. What is the natural history of diabetes? Initially, someone is normal, so someone is diabetes. So diabetes, as we told you, it is a chronic disease. It is not happen overnight. So if you have some fever, today you are fine, tomorrow you maybe develop some disease or some minor disease, fever, dysentery, these kind of things. But in diabetes, it takes long time. So I'm giving an example. So many of the students here on online maybe are doing PhD. So it is in PhD period, before pre-PhD, pre-PhD. Okay, after PhD, you're doing some postdoc. Same is true. Here is the normal subject, and this is diabetic subject. In between this subject, we call it pre-diabetes. So some normal, pre-diabetes, diabetes, and then diabetic complications. This is the natural history of diabetes. See it here. So if this is the normal glucose, this is the fasting glucose, and this is the 2-hour glucose level. Okay, if this is the normal level up to 5.5, it's a normal fasting. Okay, but if someone has only one is diabetes, if it is more than 7.1 or 11.1, 2 hours, it is diabetes. But what the pre-diabetes? Pre-diabetes, 3 types of pre-diabetes. One is someone has problem only in fasting glucose. Inject fasting glucose, we call it IFG, impaired fasting glucose. Someone may have only problem in the after taking the glucose, we call it glucose intolerance. Only some problem with the only 2 hours fasting glucose, first 2 hours post glucose load. Normally diabetes test is done. We are giving the 10 to 12 of fasting blood, and after giving the blood, you have to take 75 gram glucose. Okay, we call it glucose load. After glucose load, 2 hours again. If you can tolerate the glucose, if you normal, if you can tolerate the glucose, your blood glucose level will be normal at the baseline level. What is the fasting? And after 2 hours, it will be the same. But if you cannot tolerate, we call it glucose intolerance. Okay, intolerance, it depends. Either it is mild, moderate, or severe. So if someone has intolerance up to this level, we call it IGT, impaired glucose tolerance. And some patients can suffer both IFG and IGT. They are called IFG, IGT. But mostly, unfortunately, so we will mostly focus on here, IGT, impaired glucose tolerance, but it is not correct as always. So this is the, sometimes we make millimole, sometimes we make it milligram per DL. So very simple. If it is millimole per liter, if you multiply 18, it will become milligram per DL. Okay, so this is the criteria for diagnosis: diabetes, impaired glucose tolerance. What is the range of the plasma glucose? This one, or this is the decent criteria for the diagnosis of diabetes. Okay, as I told you, someone has only impaired glucose, someone has only fasting glucose, problem in fasting stage, someone has only after 2 hour glucose, and someone has both. We call it IFG, IGT. This can sometimes in USA they called in pre-diabetes. Okay, and Europe it's called impaired glucose regulation. So pre-diabetes is a misnomer term. Pre means after pre it will be diabetes. So in case of here, it is not true always. So this pre-diabetes patient, if someone has this condition, depending on his lifestyle, depending on the lifestyle, depending on this many things, so there is a chance 33% maybe go to the in normal stage, 33% can goes to diabetes stage, and 33% patient will be in the sitting in the same position. So this pre-diabetes is a golden time of our life. So if you have pre-diabetes, now ball is in your court. Okay, either you can go back normal, you can sitting there, or you can go to the diabetes. Therefore, the term pre-diabetes is not always true. If you go back from pre-diabetes to normal subject, Okay, therefore, the European, there is a debate, still debate here during the nomenclature. Sometimes people have pre-diabetes and sometimes IGR, impaired glucose regulation. Okay, now, this is my very favorite slide. Patients are different. Patients are different. Okay, patients are different. Okay, let's see here. Number one, in developed country and developing country, patients are different. In the developed country, maximum number of patient and diabetic patient is 65 plus. Okay, but in developing countries, maximum number of patient is 45 to 64. That means in developing countries, the number of patients 65 is after retirement. Okay, after retirement, the lifestyle, the human physiology, and 45 to 65, the physiology is completely different. The 45 to 65, it is age, it is the productive age, it is the reproductive age. So the productive age and reproductive age physiology, and after retirement, the physiology is different. Patient is different, as well as the patient from Western country, developed country and developing country is also different. Where is the patient goes? Okay, so if someone has developed diabetes after retirement, and if someone developed diabetes during the working life, the office life, it's make a big difference in economy, society, the family. Okay, patient are different. The left side, obese patients, and right side, you know him. Anyone know him? Okay, it's Pakistan. Okay, so the Asian disease, he's normally it's non-obese. He's obese. The lady left side, her is less than 18. Okay, but the scenario is different. Obesity is predominant in Western country. However, obesity is not dominant here. And this is another thing. Patients are different. Obesity is a marker. Another marker. Two subjects. Okay, one is from Asia, another is from Urea. Both have BMI, same BMI. Okay, both have same BMI. Even their body fat is different. Here, body fat is 9.1%. His body fat is 21%. This is called YY paradox. YY paradox in the sense the name of this last name something with Y. Okay, he's from India and he's from UK. So both of them they published a paper. Okay, very interesting. The one is obese, non-obese. Another is even it is both are the same BMI, but the body fat composition is different. Normally, the European people have less body fat compared to, and we have more body fat. We are taking too much oily food. But what I did with this, okay, in Panjani Center and ICC base, what I did here, we developed rat model for pre-diabetes and obese type 2 diabetes. Now, I told the facts and figures of diabetes, how it happens, what is the pathophysiology of diabetes. Now, come to the real point, that is, okay, how we develop diabetes. Development of rat models of the pre-diabetes and obese type 2 diabetes. For the name, it is clear, rat model. So, we choose the rat. We didn't choose the mice. So, what is the advantage of using rat in case of diabetes? Can anyone tell me? Sorry?
Can take blood at different time points.
Yes. Good. Yes, please, must. Yes, a student on online, can you tell me, normally we choose rat instead of mice. So what is the logic to choosing rat for the development of diabetes? So I got the good answer from the audience here. However, I want to know some answer from the online. More blood will be available for research purposes. Okay. More blood available, it's not okay. More blood, you can normally blood quantity. Any other? The best answer, someone told here. Yes, madam, many times. Who told it? What is your name, madam?
Sudha Sabu.
You're where are you from?
I'm from Rawalpindi Women University.
Mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Because the structural simplicity, tail difference. Age, if a good answer, tail difference. Thin tail in mice, and in case of rat, it is the thick tail. Okay.
Sir, yesterday you told us.
Yes,
this
yes.
one.
Okay, this one is tail difference. At least he pointed, he give the answer with my lectures. Thank you, thank you. Eh? Ki naam hai? Shundoz Shohil. Thank you very much. Okay, so before choosing any model, selecting the animal, it's on best option. You have to think logically, scientifically. If you do something, if you cannot do experiment, useless. It is useless. Okay, so proper animal models are necessary for the investigation of anti-diabetic nasal products. Normally, we develop diabetes model, and ultimate development model. It's not our permanent issue, permanent aims. Our aims, using this model, we want to do some experiment. Either if we want to do some drug discovery, or everybody knows, so all of you here normally in everywhere in this part of world. So many people still today. So as yesterday, our coordinator general Dr. Iqbal, he told he met someone in Sindh and found that his age is more than 100 and he never ever taken any medicine, hostile medicine. Then how we manage it? How will he manage it? So this is the human kind of history. Medicine developed when 100 years back. Medicine was developed in 100 years back, but the disease from the many 100,000 years ago. But when there is no medicine, what people did? When there is no medicine, what people did? Plants. People use the indigenous knowledge. Every part of the society, especially every normally plant is the good source. Okay, plant materials. So in drug discovery, drug is nothing. Okay. Can someone give me the water, please? Water bottle. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I was in the drug discovery. You see the water. Okay. So 5 years or 10 years back in Pakistan, there is no bottle of water. Okay? Sometimes what happens? So the water was the matka. You know matka? Some soil made this one pot. Okay, water is there. So normally it is available. You can take water with 1 rupee or with free of cost. Okay, when the same water with little modification, put it here. Good bottle, you can see it for water. Good leveling. This 1 rupees water, it becomes 25 rupees. Okay, same is true in drug discovery. Drug is nothing. So the plant materials, how they develop drug. So the indigenous knowledge, if something you are using, someone is using some plant materials, it means, and somehow it curing the disease, managing the disease. It means something, some component or some compound is available in this plant. Just isolate it and do the activity. This is the simplicity of drug discovery. Once they got the product, okay, because they invest lots of money. The same initially it was whole plant materials, whole extra materials. We're taking this. The same when the specific component or pure component. This is the drug. Okay, it making the prices. So every country, everywhere. So initially the drug, all the drugs came from the natural sources, 100%. Okay, even today, 50% of the drug came from natural sources or their semi-synthetic origin till today. That means the value of national product, it will be past, the value was there. Today, the value of national product is there, and when tomorrow or in future, the value will be there. And if you see during COVID-19, COVID-1 in 2020, COVID-19 came. So when the disease came, we got the vaccine after 1 or 2 years, after 1 year later, right? So then this during 1 year, so there is no vaccine. How people manage it? In different part of the world, it somehow they try to manage it. First thing, they went to the nature. Someone take these leaves, someone takes these leaves. Okay, because no medicine is there, and medicine will come later. So people are taking medicine. So by their using their indigenous knowledge, and somehow many people have managed. And many part of the world, okay, drug is not available. Okay, in the village, many countries, in the village, there is no medicine shop, not available. If available, it is not affordable. Still today, many people depend on nature. So the idea, the aims, you are making some animal model. So ultimate aims to test your some plant materials or any materials, extracts or compound, either this kind of activity, yes or no. Okay. So in case of diabetes, there is many model. One is a spontaneous model. As I told yesterday, the spontaneous model. This is called a spontaneous model. Okay. Some Japanese scientists, they develop, we call it Gosu Kakazaki mass. So those rat has higher case of higher diabetes, male or female, by mating them. So either generation 1, generation 2, after many generations, okay, they find some rat develop diabetes, some rat develop blood glucose, this is level to the cell. In this way, it takes long time, many generations. It has a procedure. So it is called spontaneous. Sometimes we call it genetic manipulation, OB, DB, Akita mouse. Okay. So the Akita mouse, one of my professors in Japan, he developed this one. And sometimes we call it chemically induced. If we give some chemical, most used chemical is the alexane and streptozotocin. If you give this one, you destroy the beta cell and make diabetes. Sometimes we call it sucrose fed or high fat diet. We make it obese to make the diabetes. Sometimes with pancreas, we just little cut, partially cut. And sometimes we make high fat diet plus streptozotocin. Sometimes streptozotocin plus nicotinamide. In this different way to make diabetes. So I'll discuss this one: streptozotocin, high fat diet, and streptozotocin high fat diet, and streptozotocin nicotinamide. These 4 kind of model I'll discuss with you. Okay. So in streptozotocin, very interesting one compound, single compound. This is streptozotocin. So if you give dose, okay, dose is different, but if you give adult rat, it will develop type 1 diabetes. If you give pups, 2-day-old pups, okay, it will develop type 2 diabetes. So in case of adult, if you give 65 milligram per kg body weight, it develops type 1 diabetes. Depending on the dose, depending on the animal age, same chemical may produce type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Okay, now see, so left side, it is a structure of glucose. How many carbons in glucose? 6 carbon in glucose. Okay, and right side, the structure is streptozotocin, the chemicals that make diabetes. What is the mechanism? This is the structural similarity. This is the only same, only this OH position here, it changes to this some nitrogenous compound here. Okay, so we call it structural similarity. Only this position instead of OH. Okay, instead of OH, H is there. This group is substituted. So only this group changes make a big differences, and that makes diabetes. So what happens if you take glucose? If we take glucose, okay, before going to this one, just see it on slide. So this is the pancreas, and this is the pancreatic islets, right? These pancreatic islets, it has alpha cell, it has beta cell. The beta cell produces insulin. So initially, the insulin is not produced directly. Initially, it formation of pre-pro-insulin. So from pre-pro-insulin, there is a formation of pro-insulin. If the first part, we call it signal sequence. If it's cut, then we call it pro-insulin. Pro-insulin, normally insulin has two chains. This is the insulin has two chains. One is chain A, chain B. Okay, chain A, chain B. A chain and B chain. Insulin has 51 amino acid, right? So in A chain, how many amino acid? How many amino acid? 21. And B chain, how many? 30. So how to remember it? If you write B, if you write B, देखो 3, if this is 3, this is B, right? That means in B chain, 30 amino acid. Remember this thing, very simple solution. Okay, A chain, B chain. So this A chain, B chain, there is a side, one disulfide bridge here, Y cysteine disulfide bond is there. And when proinsulin to insulin, there is a conversion proinsulin to insulin. What happens? This yellow part, this green part, we call it C peptide. These two chains connected by a peptide. This is called connected peptide. Short name is C peptide. So from proinsulin, so equimolar amount of insulin and equimolar of C peptide produced. So why I'm saying this one? Sometimes this C peptide is very important in a sense. So if you are making diabetes model as a positive control, either we have to give some glibenclamide, metformin, or sometimes insulin. Okay, if you give insulin as a positive control, so after your experiment, 7 days or 14 days or 1 month, you have to measure the insulin. So what about your blood? If blood glucose is lowered in your animal model, in your treatment model, what is the level of insulin? If you measure the insulin level, so you'll give some wrong answer, because in the control rat, so positive control rat, you are giving insulin, the exogenous insulin. That has cross-safety of this year. One is exogenous insulin, another is endogenous insulin. So in that cases, you have to measure C peptide. Okay, C peptide. Now see these images. Okay, this is the rat. You're giving streptozotocin, right? What happens? This is pancreatic islets. This is the beta cell. Okay, sometimes single dose or multiple dose. What happens here? So as I told you here, see it here, glucose molecule. Normally, in glucose molecule, what is the main purpose of glucose? Energy production by glycolysis. Okay, so normally this glucose molecule enter to the pancreatic beta cell. Pancreatic beta cell, there is a, we call it GLUT2, glucose transporter 2. In this glucose transporter 2, glucose molecule sit there, enter inside the cell and make glycolysis, make ATP, right? This is the main purpose of glucose molecule. However, though streptozotocin and glucose molecule, then some similar structure is similar. So if you give the streptozotocin, it sits in this GLUT2 receptor. Sometimes it has some nitrogenous molecule. This nitrogenous molecule make DNA alkylation. So if DNA alkylation, and it make DNA fragmentation. If your DNA is the DNA fragmentation, and if it's DNA fragmentation, it is inactive cell. So it destroys the beta cell. If destroy the beta cell, no insulin or less insulin. This is the mechanism how streptozotocin. Okay, sit here. Sit the beta cell population. Okay, if you give streptozotocin, okay, not all. If all cell destroyed, it will be type 1 diabetes. If not all, it will be type 2 diabetes. So our purpose is not to destroy all the cell, some of the cell, some of the cell, some of the cell. So what happens? It destroys the sum of the cell and some of the cell will be remaining. Okay, beta cell mass reduction, insulin insufficiency, chronic hypertension. This is the data. Some is red one. It is no more. Only green was this partial. This one. This is the that's the mechanism of streptozotocin, how it develop diabetes. So there is two mostly used chemicals. One is streptozotocin, another is alloxane. Okay. So alloxane has some difficulties. If mortality is too high, number one. Number two, there is claims and counterclaims. May alloxane induce that? It may. There is some reverse. Okay. This kind of, therefore, widely, streptozotocin is the best chemical for the making diabetes. Okay, there are many chemicals to develop many diseases, but out of this one, the best chemical should be chosen. My question is, in streptozotocin literature, in streptozotocin and alloxane, okay, both are reported. If you find literature, both are reported in their company profile, company catalog. Both are reported. They are making diabetes. This. What you want to do? Everything is missing. This one. Out of two compounds, one is streptozotocin and one is alloxane. Right? Two chemical can produce diabetes. Now you have to choose only one. My question is, how you have literature, company portfolio, streptozotocin facts and figure. What is the molecular weight? What is the short life? This. Everything is same. The two different companies took two different ways. Price differences. My question is, streptozotocin and alloxane, two different compounds. How you select this one? What is it? Now you have to take decision. What is the factors? And consequence you consider to purchase? Either you purchase streptozotocin and alloxane. Yes, online student, please write your answer. What is the criteria? How you can choose the best chemical? Okay, you got my question? How you can choose the best chemical for the model development? Yes, for here, any idea? Okay, this is good. Okay, because both of the companies the same similar physical property. Yes, sir. Okay, any other?
If you are interested in type 2 diabetes, then I think you should choose it. Otherwise, alloxane can induce type 1, or there may be a high mortality rate with alloxane.
Any other? No. Okay. The toxic. They kill the cell. If it is non-toxic, it will not do anything.
I think electron exhibits some resistance to that.
ठीक है. So most of the students agreed. Most of the students agreed. Streptozotocin, right? The best way is, okay, don't believe the company. In company write something, na, this is good. All the good things written. Best way, say how many scientists used streptozotocin, how many scientists use alloxane to make their model. This is the best way. Even if it is streptozotocin, then you have to choose the specific company from alloxane and streptozotocin. Okay, so how many this, it is reported data. Don't believe on their company data. Sometimes you see in the market, so any food, anything, okay, buy one, get one free, many things there, no? Food is good, this one, that, everybody told that our food is good. Come here, special discount, special this. Okay? But after taking the food, you find, oh no, it is written something, but reality is different. But if some of your friends tell you, yes, last night I went there, I took taste the food is excellent. It is more important. Someone certified, someone tested. Okay, believe it. And what is written, it may or may not true. Therefore, switching any chemical to making the model. So don't trust the company profile. Okay, check. In this way, you can check good chemical as well as good company. In estrotrophosin, many companies selling. How you select the best company, best one, best estrotrophosin? Same is true. Whose company is estrotrophosin used mostly, widely? See the reported article. So here, what we do in Panjani Center. Okay, this is the story of estrotrophosin. Okay. So yes. See the compound estrotrophosin. What is the facts and figures? Some facts and figure and tips. So estrotrophosin half-life is very short. Okay, what normally? So if its half-life is short, so many people estrotrophosin should be dissolved in cited buffer. Okay, remember this thing. It should be dissolved in cited buffer. Yes, student, anyone tell me how normally cited buffer? It pH cited buffer. CITERA cited buffer. ठीक है ना? Cited buffer pH 4.5. So normally if you make the cited solution, okay, then its pH is high. How you can make the 4.5? By adding the acid. Who told by adding the acid? Or can you raise your hand? One. Another? Raise your hand. So you are from which university, madam? You are from which university? You are from? NIS. Okay. So do you have animal house? Yes. Good. So if this is the tips, one of my friends told this story in South Africa. So if you make buffer with HCl, 100% animal will die. 100% animal will die. You got it? 100% animal will be die. So therefore, in sodium citrate, we add another chemical which is acetic acid. Okay, if you add HCl to make this 4.5, 100% die. And if you make with acetic acid, 0% die. So making buffer is important. Okay, very important thing, number one. Number two, estrotrophosin is half-life is few minutes, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I don't know exactly, but very short. Then my question is how you can manage. Normally, many people know how to do. So your lab is here, your animal house is far from your lab, right? In many university, many places, your lab here, your animal house is say maybe 10 minutes distance. You are weighing your estrotrophosin in your lab. Okay, say on 50 ml test tube, you calculate what is the amount of STG needed. You wait, you making weighing, and you will just add the buffer, make the solution, and you take this animal house. In 10 minutes. So it's and only 2 or 3 minutes half-life is equal to half-life. That means you are giving the dose. So from your start to the lab to the animal house, you're reaching the animal house, got the animal, giving the 30 minutes from the lab to animal house. If the half-life is 5 minutes, then what happens after 30 minutes? The dose will be effective or not effective? Not effective. Many people do mistake here. Okay, they're making the streptococcus in the lab, go to the animal house, giving injection, ultimately no development. Because half-life, because it is half-life is there, means you are giving the dose due to half-life. Okay, due to half-life, the amount is giving, it's not enough to destroy the cell. Partial destruction. In partial destruction, it not develop diabetes. You got one point. This is the tips. Another thing is, so even you are going to then what is the solution? How you can avoid this one? How you can avoid? Yes, she is right. Preparing solution, take the buffer different places, streptococcus is in different places, take it in animal house, make the chemicals, make the again. So streptococcus half-life is very short. Many people do mistake again here. From your lab to animal house, the streptococcus should be carried on ice, not in room temperature. Okay. So if this is the consideration, you have to make the solution in the animal house, number one. Number two, carry within proper carrier. Number three, so don't make all the streptococcus at a time, because it's after 2 or 3 minutes. If you are making 10 ml, that giving at least one animal, it takes 1 minute, 2 animal at least 2 minutes. That means you can manage. If you can manage 1 rat in 2 minutes, make 2 solution for 2 rats. If you can't manage, make 1 by 1. It depends on your expertise, depends on your experience. So if you consider this one, so if normally what we do, okay, tomorrow I'll show you how to calculate it. We make a formula in such a way that if normally we are giving the streptococcus dose according to their body weight. Streptococcus say 65, say 40 milligram per kg body weight. Then we have to measure the body weight of the rat. Then, according to body weight, we have to give streptococcus. Normally, what we do, if we induct streptococcus tomorrow, today we measure the body weight of the rat. We have that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, case 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have the case number, we have the rat body weight. According to this one, we weight streptococcus individual tube, individual appendix tube, or 2 tube, or 2 rats, 1 tube. In this way, we manage, and mashallah, we got it. In our cases, we got the success rate is 80%. Okay, success rate is 80%, and mortality is less than 20%. So, if you do in this way, you can success rate because you're spending a lot of energy, you're spending a lot of money, a lot of time, and you're hoping you're getting the result. If you're making diabetes, then normally using the animal, as I told you, the use minimum number of animal. If you use 20 animal, giving injection, and 50% develop diabetes, 50% is useless. Then to run an experiment, certain number of animals is needed. If you consider 20% mortality rate up to end, then you need more animal. This is the tips and tricks and practical application, what is the tips and tricks, how to manage it, how to make it more success rate to develop diabetes. Okay. So initially, all the rats are normoglycic. You are giving a streptococcus. There is a rapid destruction of beta cell. If rapid destruction of beta cell, then glucose level will be high or low? High. So it's called glycemic shock. Okay, many animals die due to high blood glucose. Because previous history, there is a constant blood glucose. Just overnight, high blood glucose. So sometimes we call it, if you take some sweet, 2 sweets is okay, 4 sweets is okay. If you take 2 kilogram sweets, what happens? There is a chance. Okay, enough. So how to avoid this one? So when you give the streptozotocin to the any animal, normally to overcome this hypoglycemic shock, normally we give water to the animal, water. So we add 5% glucose, 5% glucose to the water, get to avoid the mortality. To avoid, but after few days, 5 to 6, 7 days, it will be normal. This is the some consideration to how you can use best chemical, how you can make the best solution, and where you have to make it, how to give it. Okay, if you consider all the things, then the development of animal model or development rat model success rate will be 80%, maybe sometimes 100%. Okay, it depends on your experience. And if you are very hurry, you don't consider anything, you are giving at the end, as the half-life is very short, giving a streptozotocin, nothing happened. Then you're frustrated. After normally, sometimes it takes 1 month, sometimes it takes 15 days, sometimes it takes 3 months. After 3 months, no diabetes. So this is the consideration you have to make to take your knowledge to your brain that these kinds of things should be considered to develop diabetes, to develop port diabetes. That should be success rate is at more than 80%, mortality rate should be less than 10% or 20%, less than. Because sometimes in journal, if you develop some article, develop some model, and using this model, if you do some experiment, you submit paper, then if you are asked, what is the success rate and what is the mortality rate? This is important. Okay, this is important. Okay, so this is my madam, Dr. Begum Rokia. So she's in Dhaka, in Bardim. So sometimes, many times she visits in Karachi. We always engage her. Okay? We learn as much as possible to her because she's very exceptionally good in animal experimentation. Okay, the test, blood glucose test, OGTT test. Okay, so as I told you, this is the natural history of diabetes. It is normally, initially in case of obese diabetes, what happens in obesity? So initially obese people, they are risk for diabetes. Initially they develop insulin resistance, then they develop impaired glucose tolerance, then diabetes. Initially they develop in obesity, then insulin resistance, then IGT, then diabetes, then diabetic complications. This is the way to develop diabetes. So using this or consideration, we try to make some kind of diabetes model as well as pre-diabetes model using this, taking this natural history of obese type 2 diabetes in human. When is the tea break? 11? Okay. Say, the real role models. Na? Sit here. What we did? We did high-fat diet-induced pre-diabetes rat model, showed clinical presentation and pathological relevance to the human condition. So the human condition is here. So obesity, insulin resistance, IGT, then diabetes. Okay, so we take the consideration, we give how to make obese. One is sucrose, another is high-fat diet. Okay, so we choose the high-fat diet. Okay, so high-fat diet, if you give high-fat diet, then rat will be obese. Chance, rat will be obese. Chance is there. Okay. And IGT, okay, we give high-fat diet. Let's see what happens. Okay, in our animal house, So it's a lot of story. We high-fat diet, we make by ourselves. Okay, we make by ourselves many kinds of make by ourselves, and we feel some problems. So if we add fat, if we add normally high fat, some fat, sometimes it goes to oven for the making the animal food. Once we get the oven, its fat is melt. So we face many different kind of problem. Okay, to making our homemade high fat diet. So we got not satisfactory result. Okay, it takes me 1 year. Then we find some of my friends working on diabetes in many other countries. So I checked many countries and I found one good food that makes this kind of human pathological condition. We pursue this food. This is the high fat diet. Okay, this is the high fat diet food. And give rat, and this rat develop obesity. Okay, at least, but the homemade high fat diet we make it, we give the rat, it is showing some characteristic feature of some dyslipidemia, but it don't, their inside pathophysiology is dyslipidemia, but they are not developing obesity. Okay, this is the sad part of the story. And when you give this commercially high fat diet, they're developing obesity. Okay, so this is the PhD, this photograph, Kumamoto University. I did PhD there. So every training, everywhere, if you go went somewhere, you will get some lesson, some training, tips and tricks. So therefore, sometimes attending workshop, attending lectures, if you study 100 years in a book in the classroom, the information, this kind of information, attending the lectures, attending the workshop, okay, it's only available in the workshop because they are telling what the experience, not all the experience in written in the book. Okay, normally, now you're attending the conference here in Comstech, you're taking too many photographs. No? Out of too many photographs, which is the good one, you will post this one in the Facebook. Okay. So here, everywhere there is a chance of listening. Everywhere. So many things not mixed. That means you took 100 photographs, different study of Comstech, you are posting only one photograph. That's a flash photography, not complete story. So what is written in the textbook, what is written in the journal, not the whole story, just make it minimize. Okay. Therefore, attending the conference, attending the workshop is more important. Okay. Here I learned, I told it every training has some value. So my hometown in Bangladesh is in village. Okay, so I have a lot of experience. I can do many things. I have a lot of experience. I've grown up in a village, how to tackle the cows. I know it. Okay. So, and you know, it is me when I was young. Still I am young. Right? So I am milking. So this is also my mother told me. So how to make it initially, sometimes I have a hobby. Okay, my mother is doing it. So I asked him, well, you can do it. So initially what happens? My mother is doing this. Normally the cup, I hold it, I make it and sometimes in the cow, I make them love and affection so that the cow will be calm and quiet. Otherwise, it may problem with leg, it makes sometimes destroy this one. That means this kind of training is how to make the cow calm, quiet with love and affections. This helps me a lot, number one. And Japan, my colleagues told me, before doing any experiment, play with the rat, take it, keep it, make it love and affection, then it will be very fond of you, it will not disturb you. So this kind of love and affection, every training, either it is hometown, anywhere, any training, it works sometimes, somewhere in your life. So this kind of training, so what I did here, okay, initially I did all the things and with my colleagues, my student and my research assistant. Okay, initially I give them, I train them, and they're doing fine. We get good success rate, good success rate. Okay, even so, so this is the training in my hometown. So by netting, how to catch fish. Okay, so this was my hometown. Once I was in Karachi, we went some picnic. This is a boat and this is my young son. Okay, so I guess few of the fishes, everybody was surprised. I know, training I got my hometown, somewhere, sometimes it impressive. Okay, any training you got anywhere, it will work sometimes. Right? Now, this is there is for normally we are taking any food, goes to our body, either it is normally, but our blood glucose is normally there is level, say 80 to 100 milligram per day, right? So in this range, we call it, if this range somehow if you take less food, if you take less food, yes sir, please.
The previous slide.
Here, this one.
No previous slide. We talk about the complications and the diabetes, pre-diabetes. It's like can you pre-diabetes. As you see there, the complications they are starting from concerning from the ongoing hyperglycemic condition. The complications are also developing with the ongoing hyperglycemic condition. But when we are giving the this dose of chemical as disease, altogether abruptly they get the diabetes, induced diabetes. So how can we say that the complications they are exactly following the same path as that of the physiology?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your questions. To get the answer, please wait up to tomorrow. Tomorrow, yes, because I told you today I discussed how to develop insulin resistance model, how to develop pre-diabetes model, and how to develop obvious type 2 diabetes model. Tomorrow we'll discuss how we develop non-obvious type 2 diabetes model and diabetic completion model. Your answer is there, inshallah. Very simplicity. Okay. So everything, it is a retinopathy, nephropathy, neuropathy, it's marker. Some marker is there. So if some problem in the kidney, that means a kidney problem. If kidney problem, more normally in urine there is no protein. If in the urine there is a protein, it's marker. So in this, by if you check it, you can got it. Yes. No. No. Answer is no. Yes.
On cracks, the micro rabbits, and in that, what they get to know that there were two groups of rabbits that they were giving them some facts to check the development of capacity or things like that. But at the end of that experiment, they get to know that one of the groups got like they have high level of cholesterol, but the other one they didn't develop the high level of cholesterol, and they came to know that for one group which didn't have high levels of cholesterol, the one who were giving them fat to the food, but also cutting them, and also like they were treating them good in a good way. So cutting them, going friendly with them. So in as a result of that, they convert that fat food into good molecules, and it results in less level of cholesterol as compared to the one who were like they were just trying to package food. So what's the impact of like the results came that there is a psychological effect on the metabolism of food as well. So in you were saying that there's certain cells that try to be friendly. So doesn't it have the psychological effect and all these things?
Maybe. Possibility is there. So sometimes you see we are giving same food, same thing. Okay. So one is psychological, and as I told you, animals are different. Okay. So if normally this animal, please. So if there lots of animal came, maybe it came from either one from the single system, or two, say one parents gives 4, 5, 6. So another, there is many, if you make more animal, that means from different generation or from different parents. So different parents are speaking behave differently. Sometimes If you have 5 brothers and sisters or 5 friends, you went somewhere, you take same food, someone have problem, someone has no problem. Many things. Okay, psychology is one of the factors. Okay, it's got placebo effect. Yes. We'll see the slide. Glucose, homeostasis. When something our glucose, there is certain level of glucose. If you take less food during month of Ramadan, you are fasting, your blood glucose is maintained. During the marriage ceremony or any party, you are taking too much food, too much sweet. Okay, however, your blood glucose is high or low? No, it is same. So today in Islam, our temperature is say 25. Your body temperature is 27. It is, if it is temperature is in the outside 37, 42, doesn't matter, or it is -0. Your body temperature is 37. It maintains the body temperature. If, okay, same is true. Either you take a food or no food, doesn't matter. Your body can make a certain level of blood glucose. We call it glucose homeostasis. Okay. So how the blood or body can make this blood? This is the blood glucose homeostasis. So this is the time 11:31. We'll take some breakfast. Okay. By taking breakfast, so as I told you, blood glucose level is 82, say 80 to 100. So for morning, your blood, you're listening my lectures. Now your blood glucose level a little bit low. If we take breakfast, okay, breakfast or some snacks, your blood glucose level will be a little high, but it will be within the range. Within the range. Okay, it will follow the homeostasis. Okay, so let's stop here. Yes, online student. So after some snacks, we are taking some snacks here for the physical presence. Is online student, please wait. Now it is 11:30. We'll join here at 11:50. 11:50. So after 20 minutes, we'll join there, inshallah. Please wait. Hey? Please relax. Relax. Please relax and do some.
I thought that I need one answer. So thank you. Thanks very much. Please come to my agenda. We will be here after 20 minutes to the night 11:30, and then we will have our session on. Okay. So with these, please join us.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yes. The online students, can you hear me clearly? If yes, write yes. If no, yes. Thank you. Yes, offline students, can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Okay, that means blood glucose little bit increasing, na? Okay. So you are enjoying my lectures? You are enjoying the food? Food is more important. Okay, health is important. Okay, good food, good mood. Eh? Anyway, as I told you, everything, there is some limit. Eh? There is limit. Under the limit, as I told you yesterday, so in the exam, there is a pass mark, 40 to 60. Okay, if below 50, below 40, you are failing. Is above 80, there's some suspicious. Okay, so then many things may be either you're cheating, many things. Okay, anyway, so there is a range. All our blood, or normally in our all in blood, there's many parameters, not only blood glucose, lipid profile, and all the things are there is a range. There is a range, not very to the point. So how this blood glucose most is done in your body. So once blood you're taking food, the glucose molecule by GLUT2, it enters to the beta cell, inside the beta cell. Once it's entered the beta cell, what is the inside the beta cell? Cytoplasm, some kind of glycolysis start there. Then there's a mitochondria. In mitochondria, complete Krebs cycle glycolysis. What is the output of glycolysis? ATP. ATP is the energy. So by glycolysis, ATP is increasing. If ATP is increasing, so what makes the ADP is decreasing? So ATP is, once it's ATP increasing, there is called potassium channel. So if it is increasing, there is a membrane depolarization. Okay, inside positive charge, depolarization. This makes potassium channel closed. If potassium channel closed, then calcium channel make it open. If calcium channel open, normally one thing remember, one thing is intercellular concentration, another is extracellular concentration. The calcium, one is extracellular, another is intercellular. Extracellular, another is intercellular. Concentration in extracellular and intercellular same or not same? Not same. Where is concentration is more inside the cell or outside the cell? More in outside the cell. Outside the cell is 100-fold higher. If outside is 100-fold higher, what happens? Once gate is open, the calcium is going rapidly because there is gradient. Okay, very rapidly. So once calcium goes inside to the cell, it's the trigger. The trigger, as I told you in the bullet, to trigger it, the bullet will come out. So it triggered normally the glucose, the insulin molecule was stored in some granules. Okay, in some granules. So it triggered the granules, then insulin come to the outside. We call it insulin exocytosis. Okay, so once the insulin came outside, okay, then insulin, what happens? Insulin bind to the insulin receptor. Okay, adipocytes. The insulin receptor, once its insulin receptor bind it, then what happens? So there's some modification here. So in insulin receptor substrate, okay, then some IRS1, PIO3, this protein kinase B, they give some signal. There is another transporter, we call it GLUT4. Okay, GLUT2, there is a GLUT1, GLUT2, GLUT3, GLUT4, many GLUT2 is present in the beta cell, mostly. Our GLUT4 is present mostly adipocytes. Okay, so this GLUT4, normally as I told you, normally insulin have to sit somewhere. If it sits somewhere, it can active, it can effective, but it cannot sit there. It cannot bind in the insulin receptor, useless. That is the things happen in the obese diabetes. You have lot of insulin, but either the GLUT4 transporter, it is number of GLUT4 transporter is less. Okay, there is equivalent because too much insulin is there, number of receptor is less, all insulin cannot bind. Option 1. In the obese people, what happens? In the obese people, lot of fat, lot of fatty things. lot of fatty things. So if normally, if anywhere there is fatty things, it makes some unmasking, unmasking something. So if receptor is there, in case of fatty thing, it makes unmasking. So even the receptor is there, insulin cannot bind it. Even insulin cannot bind it. So if insulin cannot bind it, normally what happens? Here we call it glucose-induced insulin secretion. Once glucose bind here, it insulin secretion. Here we call it insulin-induced glucose uptake. Okay, so once insulin is induced, then glucose uptake by the cell. So in that sense, the glucose in the blood comes to the cell. If glucose comes to the cell, there is a balance. So if homeostasis, if your glucose molecule cannot come to the cell, then what will happen? Blood glucose will be high. This is the mechanism of diabetes. Okay, glucose is there, insulin is there. Okay, if less insulin, if production of insulin here, production of less insulin. Okay, less insulin makes less insulin-induced glucose uptake. Not all glucose will be uptaken by the cell. Option 1, in case of non-obese diabetic subject. In obesity, the story is different. Insulin is there, more than insulin. But due to the receptor, either the number of receptor is less, option 1, option 2, all the receptor normally the receptor, if it is the cell membrane, if it is normally this is a cell membrane, all the receptors should be there, but not normally the living condition. So all the components, this is the not constant, these are moving, dancing, all is in dynamic conditions. So many receptor in the not in the periphery, in the far from the periphery, inside. So the insulin, sometimes it helps. I mean, not only insulin, many things helps to translocate from deep area to periphery area. Sometimes in obese people, insulin is there, it is not working. Sometimes there is suggestion that during exercise. If you do exercise, what happens? This GLUT4 from inside, it moves to cell membrane. If cell membrane is there, in the receptor in the membrane, there is a chance insulin will sit there. Okay, option 1. Option 2, during moving, if you are moving, doing exercise, so your body produces more energy or less energy? More energy. So in most energy sometimes, so in case less in this scenario, so the unmasking, fat unmasking is there, fatty things unmasking is there, it can remove the unmasking. If remove the unmasking, insulin bind there, do their work, insulin bind there, it can take insulin-induced glucose uptake. If it takes glucose from outside to inside, then blood glucose will be less. In this way, it maintained. So if the problem is maybe here, problem may be here, problem may be here, problem may be here and here. Okay, let's see now what we did in Worcester rat. What we did, so making the pre-diabetes model. So we take Worcester rat, and we give high-fat diet for 9 months. Okay, it is the data for 9 months. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Okay, but we did every week. Okay, we did check every week positivity. Every week, sometimes after 15 days, depending on the vaccination condition. So, and we checked what will happen. We did OGTT test, oral glucose tolerance test. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 6. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9 months, up to 9 months. And let's see our findings. Here, one thing, please note here. So we are using here red, that is body weight is 50 gram. What is the body weight of adult rat? Yes, online student, can you write me adult rat body weight? Online student, please write what is the body weight of adult rat? For 200 gram. Thank you. Saida Tahir Jahara. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So adult rat is 200 gram. So what is the weight of 50 gram rat? Is 50 gram rat? 50 gram. That means it is adult rat. It's adult rat? No. So this is the unique point, very unique point in this study of pre-diabetes model. So one of my students, Dr. Ali Raja, he figured out this point. So we are giving high fat diet. So once the adult diet, so normally in the initial days, they are taking milk from mother. We call weaning time. Milk, then they start the solid food. Once they start the solid food or normal food or normal diet, it is almost impossible to transfer this animal to high fat diet. Okay, I'm giving a high fat diet. So normally, so if you take biryani, okay, today, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4th day, you will not like it. Okay, so my student told me this story, sir, it is very difficult. Normally they are monitoring rat weight every day, how much food is taking this. Okay, so then it was our second experiment. First experiment we did adult, we found many difficulties, though we got some result. So the use of weaning rat. So sometimes, so before testing the rat diet, rat food, before if you test the normal food, he will never ever take this food. I'm giving an example. So if you have a baby, so if you take the normally mango juice, homemade mango juice, he'll take it. But once he tastes the mango juice from the packet juice, he will never ever take the homemade juice, because packet juice is more tasty to him or her. Okay, but if he never takes the mango juice from the packet, he'll take it. So this is the starting point, this is the pin point, this is the key point of my model. So using the weaning rat. So after lactation, okay, so they're initially all taking the milk from the baby, from the mother. So before going to the real food, day 1, we give this food. It is the unique point. Please, this is the another tips and tricks to make diabetes, pre-diabetes, or if it is make it obese. If you want to make it obese, there is an option. There is option, but this is the best option. If you this one, all rat will develop obese 100%. But in other cases, maybe you got it, it will never ever be 100%. How to get it? 100%. So sit here in normally in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So in 56 months, it body weight it is up to 300. Their body weight is up to 450. Up to 16 weeks. That means up to 4 weeks or 4 months, the body weight increase very rapidly. And there, after 4 months, there is a static time. The almost linear progression up to 4 months. Okay, 4 months. If you see the figure here, okay, that means obesity. Okay, then it is start insulin resistance. So you see it here, this area is 3 to 4 months. Okay, na maximum weight. So in this time, we checked their blood glucose as well as insulin. Okay, this is the body weight. The question is body weight, how to measure? Balance, very simple. Very simple. Here, we give high fat diet, a normal diet, two group, high fat diet, red one is high fat diet. Okay, initially, this is the pattern of consumption of food per gram per day. Okay, this one. This is a zigzag pattern. So, my question is food consumption, how to calculate? How you can calculate? What is the gram quantity? Hmm?
Like you have given a certain amount of food to a rat and you are also going to measure the leftover food so that you can know that whether how much.
Yes,
it was used.
madam is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Where are you from, madam? Mashallah, mashallah. Eh? Is common sense. Okay. What we did exactly? We use some pellet. Okay, we use some pellet. This is the, if it this one, okay, if rat is there, okay, we know what is the amount of food we are giving. Next day, what is the leftover? The remaining one is taken by the, if 4 rat, then we calculate the per rat. Okay, food consumption. So food consumption, making the calculation is very important. If you can understand, if it's taking the fat, taking the food, it means increasing. It don't take food, it make alarming. Okay, either rat has some problem or your food has some problem. Okay, now come to the point here. This one. So we measured blood glucose. One is fasting blood glucose, right? And 0 month, 2 month, 4 month, and 6 month. So this is the normal diet, and this is the high fat diet. So once we found that, normally, if you consider the pre-diabetes range is here. 100 to normally in diabetes is 126, right? If someone has diabetes, 126, and normal up to 100. That means if 126 is the diabetes, 100 is the normal. It is 101 to 125. This is the range of pre-diabetes. We found that yes, it is here almost before 3 months, almost around 4 months, it crossed the range. You got it from, got my point? It is month of 4 that fasting glucose is more than 100. More than 100 but less than 126. Right? This is the 4 month, this is the 6 month. Yes, sir.
How we are taking the fasting glucose of these rats? I mean, they are on high fat diet. Are we making them fasting as well?
Yes. Normally, what we do normally, so normally option, there is 2 options. Normally, many people do what happens early morning. Okay, the early morning they came in the office or laboratory, they remove the food. Before leaving, if you came in the office or 8 or 9, remove the food. And before leaving university, option 1. Option 2, we did at night at 8 or 9 or 10 p.m. Sometimes we came to the animal house. So for this project, I have a specific assistance. Okay, this is very good in animal handling. Okay, so we at 9 or 10 p.m. we came to the animal house, removed the food, and next morning we did the experiment. Fasting. There is no way. You have to remove the food. You have to remove the food. So this is the result we got. At 4 months, it crossed the rat. In 6 months, it also grows, but it is not up to the diabetes. Now, came to this here. We also measured, we got the point here. Okay, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 month, 6 month. Now we got it. We made blood glucose also 0 month and 6 month as well as others. In 6 month here, you see it, this is the fasting blood glucose, and here the 2-hour glucose. In 6 month, this is the 2-hour blood glucose. Okay, so in 2-hour blood glucose, it grows the 140 in high fat diet rack in 6 months. Okay, it is the only blood glucose. Okay, so we got some idea. One is 4 month, another is in 4 month, it grows in fasting blood glucose, it grows 100, and 2 hours at 6 months, it grows 140. So by taking this information, again, what we did, we measure either it is diabetes model, it is insulin dysfunction, it is less insulin, or it is more insulin. If it is less insulin, we call it beta cell dysfunctional model. If it is more insulin, we call it insulin resistance model, obesity model. Okay, you see it here, the fasting serum insulin measured 0 month, 2 month, 4 month, 6 month. The black line is the normal diet rate. You see here almost 0 to 6, almost insulin level is the almost similar, not same, but similar, not same. But in case of 2 month, insulin level is just double. If it is 0.5, it is 1. In 4 month, insulin level is 1.8. That means more than 3 times. At 6 months, it is normally insulin increasing twice, 3 times. Then insulin is exactly what happens in human. Okay, so as I told you, normally in obesity, in obese people, they are making more insulin, more insulin, more insulin. But due to the problem of insulin glucose receptor or their number, insulin cannot bind. If cannot bind, cannot take the glucose. If cannot take the glucose, cannot go to glucose uptake inside the cell. If so, cell needs energy. Cell is crying, please give me glucose. This signal goes to the insulin molecule, and the cell produced, beta cell produced more insulin. But this story is the same. Insulin is producing, but the insulin is not working. Insulin is producing, it is not working. So up to certain stage, insulin is very high. So everything has a capacity. Sometimes we call it exhausted horse. Horse is the horse race and a horse race. Chabuk, you are giving him chabuk. You're running. After certain stage, he become exhausted. He cannot make efficiency. So same is true. The insulin, the beta cell, or pancreas, it makes too much insulin. After certain stage, he exhausted. Then he cannot make insulin like before. Initial insulin resistance, not beta cell, like it cannot produce more insulin. Now it is insulin secretion deficiency. What exactly happened this in human? We found this similar pattern here in rat. Okay, see it here. One thing. how you can understand either it is insulin resistance or insulin beta cell dysfunction. Okay, there is one marker, we call it insulin to glucose ratio. Okay, here you see, here in case of here, at 4 months, what is the blood glucose level? In case of control, 80. Can someone write 80? 80, and in case of high fat diet, what is the blood glucose level? 100. Okay, one is 80, another is 100. See here, it is which month? 4 month. This is the 4 month. One is 80, another is 100. Here is insulin. What is the amount of insulin here in 4 months? 0.5. What is the amount of insulin here? 1.8. Can you make the ratio? Can you make the ratio? Can you 5 divided by 80 and 1.8 divided by 100? What is the result here?
0.006 for normal.
0.006. Here
0.018.
0.8. Okay, just remember this thing, 0.006. So in case of control, that means you have 0.006 nanogram insulin to utilize 80 milligram glucose. Remember this thing very carefully. So in control, you have 0.006 nanogram insulin to utilize 1 milligram. Because in down 1 is there, but here 0.018. This amount of insulin is needed to utilize same amount of glucose. Can anyone can divide 0.018 divided by 0.006? 0.018 divided by 0.006. 0.018 divided by 0.006. What is the result? That means in case of 4 months, the rat has 3 times more insulin compared to the control. Even the blood glucose, if so, the blood glucose should be low. In control, blood glucose is 80. In case of here, the blood glucose is 100, but blood insulin is 3 times higher. What happens? Insulin is there, but it is not working. So if we make this from this insulin to glucose ratio, if in this ratio, if you find the ratio is higher compared to the control, insulin resistance. If lower, beta cell dysfunction, beta cell secretion deficiency. Clear? So this is by seeing this, only sometimes by seeing the insulin, or sometimes fasting blood glucose and fasting insulin, it cannot make the sense. Sometimes if you make the insulin to glucose ratio, it makes a clear picture, either it is beta cell dysfunction or insulin resistance. Okay, so this insulin, how to measure insulin? Now how to measure insulin? Insulin. By what is the method by using? What is the method? ELISA kit. Okay, so ELISA kit is very sensitive. So before purchasing the ELISA kit, okay, these are tips and tricks. So insulin got 3 Nobel Prize. Insulin, who discovered the Nobel insulin, Benting and Best. Okay, they got the Nobel Prize. Second Nobel Prize, Sanger, he sequenced the 50 or 51 amino acid, sequence it, they got Nobel Prize. And third, so there is a assay we call radioimmunoassay. By using the radioimmunoassay, insulin is the first drug it is done, but it is quantified. So radioimmunoassay, so it's the ELISA technique, enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. This is a replacement of the ELISA. It makes a great paradigm shift in science and technology, because for the radioimmunoassay, you need big laboratory, many things is needed. Okay, in the gamma counter, this in this one. But ELISA, it's very make it very simple. Your life very simple. You need just ELISA plate and ELISA reader, anti-social plate reader. It makes very easy. So before insulin, making the insulin, if you want to measure rat insulin, there is many kit is available in the market, but you have to use the rat insulin as a kit. So before this one, there is some cross contamination. If it is normally it has specificity, it 100% or not. Someone's insulin kit, many drug many company use insulin kit, but the standard is different. Okay, just one point, it should be specific to the rat 100%. So in our cases, we use crystal chemical kit. We found this excellent with different use. Sometimes we use the kit from China. It use this. Okay, again, this is my madam from Dhaka. He came sometime. He came PCMD. We discuss and we engage all of our students. So discussion is always good. Okay. So as I told you, insulin to glucose ratio, and sometimes we calculate there is software or there is a mathematical formula. So if you put in formula, there is some, we call it HOMA calculator, fasting blood glucose and fasting insulin, it calculates. What is that? We call it beta cell function. Sometimes it called HOMA B. They many things in the mathematical model. So the mathematical model is normally they make a hypothesis that if one person age is 35, he has no disease. So if we measure his blood glucose, fasting blood glucose and insulin, it means his blood beta cell function is 100%. If beta cell function is 100%, then what is the insulin resistance? What is the percentage of insulin resistance? 0. This is the basis. If healthy 35 years old man, if you measure the blood glucose, insulin, and make some make the formula, and the beta cell function is 100%. If beta cell function is 100%, insulin resistance is 0. If insulin resistance 0, what is the insulin sensitivity? 100. Okay, they calculate beta cell function. We see it here. The control and this the hyped diet, the beta cell function is more or less similar. Here, okay, here HOMA IR, insulin resistance. Here the control is clear. Here the hyped diet, it gives insulin resistance. Okay, by seeing insulin, we can get some idea. By doing insulin to glucose ratio, we confirmed. By seeing the HOMA IR, sure, yes, it is insulin resistance. Okay. We also measured the lipid profile. We found that our model developed in the cholesterol and HDL cholesterol, no big difference, but however in triglyceride, sometimes a difference, but not significant. This is the important point. Okay, normally what happens? Normally in up to certain stage, your age, so normally there is a rapid growth. Then when you are adult, then you say normally initially two things. One is called hyperplasia, another is called hypertrophy. In hyperplasia, cell number increase, and hypertrophy size. Normally, if you got the first prize, trophy is small. Second prize, trophy is medium. In case of first prize, trophy is big. In this way, remember this thing. Hypertrophy means increase of size. Hyperplasia, in Asia, more number of patients. Somehow remember it. Hyperplasia, increase the number, hypertrophy increase the size. What we did, after doing it, we did some immunohistochemistry with insulin. You see, it is the whole, normally the pancreas, my student in 4x, the whole pancreas is covered in case of control. Okay, here, and this is the right side, is the high fat diet one. So here the islets side, this is the islets of Langerhans. Red one is the insulin beta cell, green one is the alpha cell. Right side, you see here small, medium, and large size of islets. But here you see it here, all islets are medium, moderate, and large size. This is the whole whole islets. When you see that, yes, it is the one islets. This is the one islet. See the islet. This is the normally it happens normally. It's the hypertrophy rather than hyperplasia. Okay, so we found this exactly same. The cell size is increasing. It is the total pancreas. The total pancreas size increasing means individual beta cell increase. We also measured. My student did it. What is the area? If we measure the area, if we measure the area of the islets, and if we count how many nucleus is there, how many cells is there, total area divided by total number, we get what is the size of the individual cell. In this way, we also calculate. There is software, image the software by using, we also did it. Here, an adipocyte, this is the size, adipocytes here, left side, it is normal diet, and right side is the hyper diet. Here we also find it is hypertrophy. Beta cell, this is adipocyte cell size is increasing. So all these characteristics are very resemble to the human. What happens in human? Same thing happen in our model. Okay. So from this we conclude that, okay, we conclude that normally if we give high fat diet 0 to 9 months, we found that at 4 months it developed insulin resistance, and at 6 months it developed pre-diabetes. And up to 9 months, we checked it. Up to 9 months, it don't develop any diabetes. Pre-diabetes is pre-diabetes. It remains in pre-diabetes. Up to this, clear to you? We give high fat diet, measure food consumption, measure blood glucose, measure 2-hour blood glucose, measure insulin, and we also measure some other things also. But just make it clear, make it simplified. Blood glucose, insulin, and we fasting blood glucose, 2-hour blood glucose, fasting insulin. With the measure insulin to glucose ratio, measure the insulin resistance. What is the calculated value of insulin resistance? What is the calculated value of beta cell function? Conclude that yes, in 4 months it developed insulin resistance, and 6 months it developed pre-diabetes. Okay, 1 minute. So, yes, madam, what is your question? So this is the study, similar study human. Normally in US, many patients, many subjects, very obese. Their whole their life, they're obese. They never ever develop diabetes. It is not meant because a certain amount of insulin is there. It manages. So there is certain amount of insulin is there. If insulin level, it will be below this insulin, then it will be diabetes. We found in our cases up to 9 months, 9 months up to it is not developed. Then it happens, madam. All obese people don't develop diabetes. Some develop diabetes, some not. Okay. So using this data, one of my students, Ali Raja. So a humanized rat model pre-diabetes by we can by using the only diet cannot make diabetes. It can make up to pre-diabetes. Only pre-diabetes. So the significance of this study, because so once diabetes, always diabetes.
Once someone develop diabetes, from the day of diagnosis to next life, he will be diabetes. So we are very focusing on pre-diabetes in a sense. So when I came to after my PhD in Dhaka, normally everybody is working on diabetes. So nobody is interested to work on pre-diabetes. So it is the area, it is the golden period of your time, because as I told you, if you have pre-diabetes, 33% chance to go normal, 33% there and 33% in diabetes. So in this pre-diabetes, there is no medicine needed, only lifestyle modification, lifestyle change, food habit change. Same food, different time point has different value. If you take food in the just at 7 p.m. dinner, it has some meaning. If same dinner at late night, it has some meaning. So in sometimes the professor from Iran, he asked me what is the causative factor. So in Western countries, there are many factors is different. Our factor is different. Normally, sometimes we use mosquito coil. You know mosquito coil. So one mosquito coil is normally Western people, they are taking more smoker. Here less smoker, but we are using mosquito coil. One mosquito coil is harmful more than 100 cigarettes. Okay, normally if someone takes cigarette, he and surrounding 1 or 2 people are suffering. But in the mosquito coil, if it is mosquito using it, whole family is suffering. Okay, more dangerous. And another is late night eating, or in part of this world, in some part of this world, we have late night eating, late night sleeping culture. It is also causing factor. So our target is, if we want to test some natural products, if someone develop diabetes, there is no way. Okay, any complications, if you make management with the natural products, with the early stage, it will be more beneficial. You can divide back, but at the latest stage, you can't. So therefore, we make this model in pre-diabetes model, so that if you add something, if you give something, either it can manage the pre-diabetes or not. This is the aim. Pre-diabetes, making the pre-diabetes model is very important, so that, as I told you, 10% people are suffering from diabetes all over the world. 10% people are IGT. Okay, that means similar number of patients, their impaired glucose tolerance. If someone develops diabetes, it will go diabetic and diabetic complication. You cannot stop. But if someone has lots of number of people is pre-diabetes, you can do many things here. You can do lot of contribution here, especially using the natural products. Got, madam? Therefore, we develop this model.
So it depends upon the metabolic either how fast you can digest diet or not. So same with the mind.
No,
If you are giving the
no. Answer is no. Answer. No, normally, this is the human and animal. Normally, as I told you, this is the inbred animal. Okay, from one parents, we get normally 10. That means we are getting 40. So all the rest came from the same. Okay, this is the not same, similar. Normally similar when we start experiment. So we start normally if the body weight is around 50. So we some maybe 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 inches. We make it a narrow range. We just make a minimum factor. So on all the rats should be the same body weight. So using this, we published a paper because a humanized rat model for pre-diabetes by high-fat diet feeding. This is the key word. Winning rats. This is the key word. Okay. So how to develop insulin resistance model? How to develop pre-diabetes model? Okay. So as I got it, yes, online student. Now it is clear how to develop insulin resistance model and how to develop pre-diabetes model. If yes, write yes. If no, all the models I develop by myself, so I can answer all of your questions. I can share my experience and expertise. Okay, yes. Now it is. Now I could go next one. See it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We measure up to 9 months. No development. What happened in pre-diabetes? In pre-diabetes, when it is pre-diabetes 6 months, we give streptozotocin, a little dose. Okay, very small doses.
What's the dose?
We use 35. Okay. Okay. So 35, or I have to check. Okay, very little dose. Normally dose required just half, less than half. It is written. I will check, let you know. It is very little, small doses or small doses. So if we give this small doses of streptozotocin at 6 months of pre-diabetes, this rat, after 15 days it developed diabetes. We check after 9 months. After 9 months, how long we wait? Very difficult. Okay, it may develop 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, because I have to. This student is a PhD student. He have to submit his thesis. Okay, but we found that yes, only diet cannot be diabetes. We stay. Normally, if someone makes questions, okay, after 6 months, why you give this streptozotocin? For this safe side, we answer is we checked after 9 months. Blood glucose remaining the same. Okay, so if we give here streptozotocin here, pre-diabetes, it after 15 days it developed diabetes. What are the parameters we measure for the insulin resistance and blood glucose? All the parameters we also measure here. We measure glucose, OGDT, insulin, insulin tolerance test, beta cell function, adiponectin, glucose uptake, GLUT4 mRNA. We all measure it. Here you see it here. This is the fasting blood glucose. This is the 2-hour blood glucose. It is not close the diabetic range. Then what happens here? Once at 6 months, if we give streptozotocin, okay, here this one is interesting figure here. If after giving streptozotocin, the blood glucose it is increasing, but body weight decreasing. Initially, body weight is increasing and constant. After giving streptozotocin, body weight decreasing. So here, fasting glucose at 6 months, there is a rapid jump of blood glucose, and then it continues. In 2-hour blood glucose also, this is the rapid jump. 6 months up to this. Okay. It makes a diabetes model or obese diabetes model. So we checked their blood glucose, insulin, everything, and there is a model. Okay, this is the model. It's published in National Journal in 2006, Kahan et al. So this is the McVie model. This is the normal insulin and insulin sensitivity and insulin release. So it goes here with IGT, but here it is the type 2. Using this model, we figure it here. We see it here. This is the normal line. Okay, normal line. Hyped at 3 in 3 months. What happens? Insulin sensitivity it is 1 and insulin release is 4. That means you see it here from here. In case of 6 months and 9 months, insulin release is increasing. Insulin releasing is increasing, and insulin sensitivity is decreasing. But if you give streptozotocin, then what happens? In 6 months here, this is insulin release. Insulin release can come here to here. Insulin release is decreasing. Okay. So initially, insulin sensitivity, this is here, insulin sensitivity more or less similar, but insulin releasing is decreasing. As I told you, after existed, there is insulin releasing is there is a dysfunction, less insulin release. So our data, the streptozotocin hyped data, just mimicking this model. We confirm, but we see the blood glucose, we measure blood glucose, we measure 2-hour blood glucose, confirm. Insulin, we measure, confirm. And again, we make them fit the model, found it, yes, one is insulin release, one is insulin sensitivity. Measure this model, we get it. And publish this one. A long-term high-fat diet, low-dose streptozotocin develop a type 2 diabetes rat model showing clinical presentation and pathophysiology of natural history of diabetes. What happens in human? Same thing, we try to develop similar model in the, we got it, and we published the paper. It is a meaning. This is full paper. So during this experiment, one of my research associates, okay, so we call it Sanjay Sidra. So she did excellent job with me. With this animal handling is not easy. Not easy. Every day you have to go animal house, changing the bedding. Sometimes when it become diabetes, there is another tips and tricks. Once they are diabetes, normally we put 4 to 6 rat in a case. If it is diabetes, either put 1 rat or 2 rat maximum. Because 1 rat in night, its urine is 10 ml, 5 to 10 ml. In diabetic rat, urine volume is 30 ml. That means 3 to 4 times higher. So if we put 4 to 6 rat together, a flood, there is a flood with urine. So if the flood of urine, if you cannot sleep well, good sleep is mandatory for good health. Okay, therefore, this is another tips. Option 1, minimize, if possible, 1 rat. And normally, we change the bedding 2 times. Morning, after coming in the lab, and after taking tea, this change the bed, and before leaving lab, by changing the 2 times bedding. Okay, sometimes we manage 1 or 2 rat per cases. With this in this way, we minimize the mortality rate. Mortality rate with good health condition. This is the tips. Okay, and all the things we did here in Panjani Center. Okay, now I have few minutes more. So we develop model. Now I do our real experiment. So we try to develop some plant materials, plant extracts that is people are using for their anti-diabetic property. So either what is scientifically valid or not valid. So one of my students, we checked 11 natural products. 11 natural products. Okay, we make extracts. And most of the drugs available in the market, in the natural product drug, it is not the single component, it is the poly things. Therefore, we found that diabetes is a multifactorial disease. It is multifactorial disease. So one plant may not enough. We need multiple plant to combat this, combat the disease or make the glucose homeostasis. So what we did, so these 11 plants, so the difficulty of the working on plant is the same plant in different season, it has got different compound. Same plant in different part, it has compound variation. Same plant, so normally in human, we have childhood, then we have adult, the young adult, in different time period of human, it has different property. Same is true in the natural products, in plant materials. So if in leaves, so now it is the mango season. The leaves, the property of leaves in the component in the leaves in this season, winter season, it's may not the similar, may not the same. So first what we did, this 11 extracts, what we did SPLC. And SPLC, by doing SPLC, in the all extract, what is the major component? We try to understand what is the major component. This 1, 2, 3, 4, this 11, we did SPLC. We call it, sometimes we call it, if we make extracts, we call it extract. If we make the extract with SPLC data, we called it standardized extracts. Always standardized extract is good. In a sense, you know, what is the major component? What kind of component is there? Okay, with this one, what we did, we make a different combination. Say, initially 2 compound, 2, 1. Then this is group 1. Then group 2, what we did, group 1 is constant, we add 1 more. Group 3, group 2 is constant, we add 1 more. In this way, we make this kind of group. And all the group is tested to we give the test 1 gram per kg per day. Okay, in this tested, and normally we checked it, blood glucose. Okay, body weight, fasting blood glucose, glucose tolerance, fasting insulin, adiponectin, insulin resistance, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parameter. Group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We found 3 point positive, here 5 point positive, here 1, here 3. Okay, someone is here positive, here is the negative. Positive, 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 positive. So this group, after this G5, we found addition of other component, it has no value. So therefore, with this G5, we take 5 component This is the group G5. This is the group we select. And this one is tested to the obese diabetes rat. Obese diabetes rat, we checked their antioxidant status. Okay, we checked the mixture as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Individual extract we checked as well as we checked the mixed. In the antioxidant status, in the fasting glucose, 2-hour glucose. You see always this is the mixture. Mixture, it is individual, this is the mixture. So this is the mixture, this is the individual. Always mixture shows better result compared to the individual one. Here, insulin. Insulin, this is the mixture. So some mix, always we found the mixture shows better result in fasting glucose, 2-hour glucose, fasting insulin, adiponectin, even 2,2 glucose uptake assay. We did it here. This is the mixture. We found here. This is the individual one, individual from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. You see there is a word D. D means it's difference from these, difference from these, difference from these, difference from these. From all single component, mixture is always give more significant result. So in this mixture, we also did relative GLUT4 mRNA. As you know, the GLUT4 mRNA, so either it is GLUT4 receptor, which all the data, we checked it, and this is the normal, this is the IGT, this is the type 2 diabetes. So this is the diabetes. In case of, if you see, this is the diabetes 1, and insulin sensitivity is 0.2. So this is the one component, this is the one component, this is the one component. So someone CS is increasing the insulin sensitivity, and GS, Gymnoma sylvestri, it increasing insulin release. Okay. So our mixture, this is glibenclamide and parglycerol, this is increasing the insulin release as well as insulin sensitivity. So this is our mixture. We found it is increasing the insulin release and increasing the insulin sensitivity. Yes. So we checked our individual component, either the enhanced insulin sensitivity or insulin release. Individual component as well as the mixture. We found mixture is good. So this is conclusion. The selected combinations are more effective than that of their individual components. Okay, this is our findings. So now one thing is sit here and fasting blood glucose level. Okay, fasting blood glucose level, you see it is 400 in case of diabetes, and in case of mixer treatment it will be 250, right? And 2-hour blood glucose level it is 450, and mixture it is 300. The same what he did, the mixture here, normally this here, the mixture contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in case of pre-diabetes, in pre-diabetes model, what we did? In pre-diabetes model, we checked only 2. One is Mamotica charantia and cinnamon. Okay, so sorry, my blood glucose report data is not here. We found the blood glucose data. It is normally very similar to the control. Blood glucose is very similar to the control level, and we found what is the molecular mechanism, how it happens. Normally, this is the Mamotica charantia, this is the cinnamon, this is the mixture. Okay, this mixture, it's relative to GLUT4 mRNA. It upregulates the GLUT4. This is the main receptor. Okay, in this way, we normally first we develop the model, and with this model, we tested our natural extracts either individually or in combination. So in our sense, we found that combination works always better, always better. 2 head is better than 1. Okay, so as I told you, once diabetes, always diabetes. So done now. If you have diabetes, life is here. Okay, because this is me, right? This is me, and she's the vice president of IDF, International Diabetes Federation. So I met some maybe 7 or 8 years ago in Karachi. So IDF president, so IDF vice president. She was suffering from diabetes from 53 years, 10 years back. Still she is young, beautiful. Okay, sometimes this photograph I showed somewhere, and someone printed in the journal and wrote Dr. Hafiz and his wife. Okay, then the people very much surprised that Dr. Hafiz has 2 wives. He didn't tell us anything about this one. So people are telling this story, and later I came to know that this is the story. Okay, so so don't believe if it is printed anything. Officially, I have 2 wives according to the newspaper and magazine, Urdu magazine. So, okay, model is always model. See it here. You know, this is Wasim Akram, na? It is model. 100 figures, some photography, this some Photoshop. And this is the real Wasim Akram. I met with him. There is a difference, model and real life. Okay, so you are trying to model, it takes a lot of times. And as I told you, we did lot of experiments, lot of emails, but only the good things is here. Many, okay, this is the, so it is difficult, but not impossible. This, okay, so again, animal models. So finally, students, there is a left side, there is a photograph, right side, there is a photograph. What is the photograph of left side? Tunnel. On the right side? Huh? Multi-charging cable, faster for all types of cells, Android, iPhone, iPad. That means, I'm telling you, so normally, one is, finally I'm telling you, so 2 things in science, one is tunnel approach. In the tunnel, this is only one way. Another is multiple approach. Okay, so if you think this happens, always think in multiple approach. So if 3 cable is there, if you carry, at least one will work. So students, young men, fresh mind, fresh thinking, always things, it is up to you. Either you will think tunnel thinking, tunnel approach, or you will multiple approach. Multiple approach, always good. As I told you, if we pick different tunnel means only one, or multiple means at least multiple more than one. We found in our cases, pre-diabetes model and obese type 2 diabetes model, combination, multiple, mixture, always give good result, better result, right? With this word, so I am finishing it here. So those are in offline here. I am available here. So before ending it, I just asking my online students, charging cable, yes. My online students, if you have any questions, this is my end of second lectures. Hope you understand. If you some idea, hope you got some tips and tricks how to develop model, how to develop good model, how to develop maximum. Please, how to develop maximum efficacy, how to develop maximum productivity, how to develop maximum success rate with minimum mortality. Okay, minimum mortality. This is my tips and tricks, and I'm sharing my experience. If even you have some question, query, you can communicate with me by email or by chat box. So I can share my experience. I can share my experience for the betterment of human life, for betterment of society, for betterment, because lots of number of diabetes all over the world, especially in Muslim country. It's our duty, it is my duty and responsibility to transfer my knowledge, to you. You will transfer your knowledge to someone. Transferring knowledge is very important. Transferring technology is important. Transferring knowledge is also important. Knowledge is more important. Okay, so for online students, you have any question? Thank you, sir, for your very elaborating this lecture. Thank you. Other than thank you, any other thing? Very informative lecture. Any questions? Any questions? Yes, no? No questions. So no questions means 2 things. Either you can understand all the things. Option 2. So this is the time for the offline student physical. Yes, sir. Your question? Yes, sir.
The mixture, the extracts were in equal quantities, or there are different?
No.
They are equally.
We did. Initially, it's very difficult. So normally, sometimes what happens? Initially, we did different combination and different permutation. Not all. Okay, not all, not the same quantity. So using this formula, what I try to do now, I'm trying to develop a anti-diabetic. Before normally we're taking tea, so different leaves, those are edible, but okay, different combination, different permutation. I'm making tea. My students doing this tea for diabetes. We're taking tea. If it is antioxidant, it is no harm. It is different combination, different permutation, and not same ratio, different ratio.
So what was MC?
MC is Mamuntica charantia. It's Corolla. Yes.
After how many days after the development of the schematic model, you can use or extract or any
Okay. Normally, you have normally, as I told you, after 15 days, you develop diabetes. Then at least another 7 days, you have to monitor either it is diabetes is stable or not. Okay. Another 7 to another 14, another 7 days or 14 days, you can check it. At least normally 14 days. 15 days develop diabetes or 7 days develop diabetes, at least we need 2 weeks. Or if you want to check it in 1 week, then check 2 times. Okay, day 1 and day 7. If you find it is more stable, normally or little increasing, if it is sharp increasing, don't do this. Okay, if it is stable increase in this state, normally after 15 days is enough. 15 days. Pre-diabetes model, it is we know already. Pre-diabetes model you can use next day. You can use so after 6 months, next day you can use your extracts.
Can we use a glucose device for monitoring these things? Like if you don't have the instruments in the
Glucose device means
device for
glucometer. Yes, we measure the glucose in glucometer. Initially, during checking, what we did in the tail, we just make a peak, just in the it gives blood. Sometimes there is option. Many people don't know in the ear, there in the red, make it little peak, little bit blood. 1 peak here, 1 peak here, 1 peak here, 1 peak here.
So my question.
Yes.
So do you operate one dose or multi-dose of extract?
Yeah. No, we give multi doses every day, 1 gram per kg per weight, body weight. We give it at either 14 days or 1 month. It's not single doses. Yes. Multiple. Yes. But single dose per day. Yes.
So if we are not making the high fat diet, instead we are using the streptozone. After how many days only the streptozone, not for beef one. How many days it cause the modern diabetic?
Okay. Thank you for your question. You will get exact correct answer tomorrow slide. Yes, sir.
On the other combination, you have used, for example, after 5 years, using the same 5 plants in the next other group. Like G6, you are using all the 5 plus 8
Yes.
and 7. Then the presence of the 5 components were there in the next group.
Yes.
Then what was the effect of that? They did not show the like G6, G7, because these 5 components are also present in the next combination.
Here, okay. When you find here, see here, it's G5. After G5, there is no additive effect. We think up to here, this is we call it saturation. So the plant materials normally the G1, the G5, 5 plants, the component or compound present here, the other compounds, the other 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means here 1 more, here 2 more, here 3 more, here 4 more, 5 more. The component or compound may be similar. Option 1. Number 2, it has some we call it saturation. It can do maximum this one. Even at many things, it cannot reduce more than that. There is 2 options, 2 possibilities there. One is saturation, another is maybe the remaining plant extracts has the component or compound that is already exist here in the previous group. Yes, madam.
very early slides, you have also
So with these few words, I'm here, madam. I'm here. If you don't worry, with these few words, yes, yeah. Do you have some announcement for him?
Yes, so
Yes, I'm okay. With this, online students, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much. And once again, tomorrow at 10 a.m. inshallah. 10 a.m. inshallah. Thank you very much.